Do you ever get to the end of a long workday feeling totally wiped out, but you can't point to a single significant thing you did? You were busy, no doubt. Your calendar was jammed, your inbox cleared. But those big, important projects? Yeah, they're still sitting right where you left them yesterday. Your own vitality is draining away, like it's being held in a bucket filled with holes. All day long, your focus, energy, and willpower just drip away. It's used to fill others' buckets as yours drains into oblivion. Each one is just a tiny amount, but by 5 p.m., your bucket is bone dry. You're left exhausted, inefficient, and overwhelmed. This isn't an accident. Studies show that constantly switching between tasks can slash your productivity up to 40%. That's basically working a 5-day work week, but only getting the output of 3 days. But what if you could patch those leaks? What if you had a system to protect your vitality, to ensure your best energy goes towards things that actually move the needle? Well, that's what we're going to do here today. We're going to fix your leaky bucket with a 3-part focus system that plugs those holes for good. By the end of this, you'll have a clear, actionable plan to take back your focus, and I'd bet maybe even double your meaningful output. Section 1. First, let's fix that leak. The first, and honestly the biggest leak in our focus bucket, is disruption. Imagine standing in your kitchen. You're preparing a meal. When the oven timer goes off, your phone rings and the doorbell chimes. You rush around frantically, silencing the loudest noise, but you never actually finish cooking that meal. We treat every task as if it's an emergency. But if you don't decide what's important, everything will feel urgent. This is where we bring in our first tool. It was popularized by Stephen Covey, a favorite author of mine, in the legendary book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But the idea originated from a quote by President Dwight D. Eisenhower. He famously said, "What is important is seldomly urgent, and what is urgent is seldom important." The matrix is brilliant because it helps untangle these two ideas by sorting our task into 4 simple boxes. Picture this, a 2x2 grid. One side is labeled urgent, and the other is labeled not urgent, and that's on the horizontal axis. On the vertical axis, the options are important and not important. That gives us 4 quadrants. So quadrant 1, urgent and important. These are your do first tasks. This is the firefighting quadrant. These are the crises, hard deadlines, and problems that demand you drop everything, like a critical project due today or a server that just crashed. You can't avoid these, but the goal is to have as few fires to put out as possible. Now, if you prioritize everything in quadrant 1, it's a one-way ticket to burnout. Quadrant 2, important but not urgent. This is where the magic happens. This is the gardening quadrant. This is where you plant the seeds for future success. Strategic planning, learning a new skill, building relationships, or finally working on that passion project. This work doesn't yell for your attention, so it's easy to put off. But this is a work that prevents future fires. The most effective people spend most of their time right here in quadrant 2. Quadrant 3, urgent but not important. These are the delegate tasks. These are the masters of deception, the empty calories quadrant. This is the flood of pointless meetings, interruptions, and emails that someone else could and should handle. They feel important because they're time sensitive, but they offer 0 nutritional value for your goals. It's like that colleague asking for a quick review on a project that you're not even involved in. Quadrant 3, the trick is to delegate, or just as often, politely say no. Quadrant 4, neither urgent nor important. These are the eliminate tasks. This is the junk drawer of your day. This is the mindless scrolling on Instagram, sorting promotional emails, or any other activity that's just straight up time waster. These are the most obvious leaks in your bucket, and you need to be ruthless about cleaning them out. By taking just a few minutes every morning to sort out your to-do list into this matrix, you stop being a firefighter. You become an architect, intentionally designing your day around what actually matters. This plugs the first leak by making sure your best focus goes into the high-impact work, not just the loudest distraction. Let's move on to section 2. Plug the second leak, the scheduling sinkhole. Okay, so you've used the Eisenhower matrix. You know what you should be working on, those important garden tending tasks from quadrant 2, but that's only half the battle. The second leak in our focus bucket is having zero structure. A to-do list isn't a plan. A to-do list is like a pile of lumber. A schedule is a blueprint that turns it into a house. Without a real schedule, these important tasks will get shoved aside by a constant stream of urgent, unimportant nonsense. To plug this leak, we're using two powerhouse techniques. First, eat the frog, and second, time blocking. The phrase eat the frog is often attributed to Mark Twain, who supposedly said, "If it's your job to eat a frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning." In productivity terms, your frog is your most important, most challenging task, the one you are most likely to put off. By tackling this task first, a few amazing things happen. 1, you guarantee your most critical work gets done. 2, you use your brain when it's at its peak, your biological prime time. And 3, you build incredible momentum. After you've eaten a frog, the rest of your day feels like a piece of cake. So how do you actually make time to eat that frog? That's where time blocking comes in. Time blocking is simply scheduling your entire day into specific blocks of time. Instead of working from a messy to-do list, you work from a calendar. This is a method used by super performers like Bill Gates to manage their insane schedules. Here's how you put them together. First, identify your frog, that one big important quadrant 2 task. Then, open up your calendar and block out a solid chunk of time, ideally first thing in the morning. This could be a 90-minute or 2-hour block called deep work, finalized project proposal. You must treat this block like a meeting with your CEO. It's a non-negotiable. But don't just stop with that frog. Block out time for everything. Batch similar tasks together. Think of it like doing laundry. You don't wash one sock at a time. You do the full load. Create a 30-minute email and Slack power hour in the late morning and another in the afternoon. This stops you from checking messages every 5 minutes. And don't forget to schedule breaks. The Pomodoro technique, working in focused 25-minute sprints with 5-minute breaks, is a fantastic way to structure your time blocks and keep your brain fresh. When you schedule your priorities instead of just listing them, you turn a vague intention into a concrete plan. You build a fortress around your focus, making sure your most important work gets the time it deserves. This plugs the scheduling sinkhole and stops your day from being washed away by total randomness. We're about to tackle the third and final leak, which is probably the toughest one to plug in our hyper-connected world. But before we get there, if you're finding this system helpful, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It really does tell YouTube that this is the good stuff and helps other people find it. And if you have a favorite time blocking app or tool, drop it in the comments. I'd love to see what you're using. Section 3. Plug the third leak. You've got your priorities straight and your day scheduled. Your bucket is starting to feel pretty solid. But there's one more leak, and it's a monster. The constant soul-crushing flood of digital distractions. Every ping and notification is a crack in your focus. Research from the University of California, Irvine found that it can take over 23 minutes to regain your focus after an interruption. Think about that. Every time you get distracted, it's like your train of thought gets derailed. A single quick email check means spending nearly half an hour getting your train back on the tracks. Today's average knowledge worker switches tasks every 3 minutes. We're living in a state of continuous partial attention. It's like trying to listen to 5 different radio stations at once. You hear the noise, but you can't make out any of the songs. This is demolishing your ability to do deep, concentrated work. Let me ask you a question. Is anyone else addicted to getting rid of those little red notification dots on their devices? It's brutal. So how do we plug this leak? We have to build a digital fortress that protects our focus. This requires being proactive, not reactive. First, turn off your notifications on all your non-essential apps, on your phone, on your computer. You do not need to know the second a person drops a note on Facebook or Instagram. The notion that you must respond instantly is a myth. Instead of letting notifications pull you out of work, use your scheduled time blocks to push yourself to check messages at specific times. Seriously, if you plan well enough, you can even do this with your emails. Second, create a distraction-free digital workspace. When you're in a deep work block, close every tab you don't absolutely need. Don't be that person with 50 tabs open. Turn your phone off, and if you can, at least turn it face down. Just adding a little bit of friction, making it slightly harder to get to your distractions, is incredibly powerful. And third, set clear boundaries with your team. Let colleagues know when you're in a deep work block. A simple Slack status like heads down for Q4 report until 11 a.m. will check messages then. It works wonders. This isn't being rude, it's being professional. It signals that you take your work seriously, and it fosters a culture where not every message demands your instant reply. Finally, defend your breaks. When you take a scheduled break, actually disconnect. Don't just switch from your work screen to your phone screen. That's like trying to rest your eyes by looking directly at a different, brighter light. Stand up, stretch, walk around, and do me a favor, look out the window and just enjoy nature. Giving your brain a real rest allows it to process information and recharge. Plugging this final leak isn't about ditching technology. It's about taking back control. It's about designing your environment to foster concentration, not destroy it. By doing this, you build the final seal on your focus bucket. So there you have it, the 3-part system to fix your leaky brain and get your focus back. We started with that feeling we all know too well, the leaky bucket, where our best energy seems to vanish into thin air. Look, this isn't some magic trick, it's a system. It's like any system, and it takes a bit of discipline to get it going. But the payoff is huge. You'll go from feeling busy to being effective. You'll end your days feeling accomplished, not just drained. Your leaky bucket becomes a deep well of focus that you can use to do your best, most meaningful work. Start small. Tomorrow, just try one thing. Maybe it's sorting your to-do list with that matrix. Or maybe just turning off your email notifications for 2 hours. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If this is valuable, subscribe for more videos on how to work smarter and live better. Now go plug those leaks and stay strong.